Today's webinar, Save Time with Record Creator, Automate Record Creation. My name is Heather and I'm part of the support team here at Workbooks. Here is a program of webinars for this year, including those that have already taken place and the upcoming upcoming webinar. The agenda for today's webinar is to introduce what a record creator is, how it works. We will then walk through how to set up a record creator by jumping into the product and finish with some best practice tips. Some of the attendees online might have joined our previous webinar, which was on Field Updater, and will notice a lot of similarity between the two plugins. So, what is the record creator? In Workbooks, Record Creator is an automation tool that automatically creates new records based on existing ones, using a report to control when records are created and what data is copied across. It's a free of cost plugin available to all Workbooks customers. Using the Record Creator, we can cut down on the time spent by users manually creating repetitive records. Record Creator also helps us apply business rules consistently, which reduces the risk of missed or incorrect updates made to a field and also ensuring records do exist. Now, let's talk about how the Record Creator works. Much like the field updater, we install a plugin which creates a scheduled process in the background. We can configure how frequently we want the record creator to run. As we touched upon in the previous slide, report is used to drive the record creator, which is how the process knows which records to update. The report must contain the original record ID column. For example, if you wanted to set up a record creator to use a report looking at person records and create activity records such as tasks, then the original record ID column will be the person record ID column. In order to use a report to configure the record creator, we must set the category as record creator on the report so that it is available to us in the record creator plugin UI. The report driving the record creator must also contain column for values that are to be populated onto the fields in the new record, which must also include the required fields on the new record that is to be created. Also, we don't want the record creator to run in a loop and create duplicates, so we will need to have a criteria to remove the records that have already been created by the record creator. The Record Creator plugin UI is where we will complete the field mappings by selecting what the original record type is, the original record ID column from the report, and what the new record type is going to be. Also, which fields are to be populated by the record creator and which columns from the report contains the value for the selected fields. Now, let's see how to set up a record creator. Prior to getting started with the setup, let's make sure we have got the correct record type we want to create using the record creator. If not, we should create one at this stage if needed. Next, we define the report that will feed the record creator, and this is basically our source list of records to create. The report will also include original record ID column, field values to be pushed onto a new record created by the record creator. After the record creator runs, we need a rule that removes already created records from the candidate set. And then we need to make sure whoever sets this up has access to the configuration page. And typically, this is a system admin. It would be a system admin who sets this up. For our product demo of how to set up a record creator, I will be using the following example of automation creating a follow-up task for new people created today. So the scenario is users create new person records but often forget to create a follow-up task, leading to missed actions and inconsistent business process. We will configure our record creator as so, setting the original record type as person, new record type as tasks, map the fields that are to be populated on the task record using the columns from our report, have a criteria in place to stop duplicate tasks being created. And also, as mentioned in one of our previous slides, we need to make sure that the required fields on the record that is going to be created by the record creator are mapped. Now let's jump into workbooks. Great. So as mentioned in our previous slide, in our previous slide, we are going to be setting up record creator so that when a new person is created on the database, a follow-up task is created as well. So this is a person record that has been created today. And here is a report which I've put together for the record creator, and we'll come back to this in a moment. So let's start by installing the plugin by going to Start menu, Configuration, Automation, and Plugins, and add a new plugin. Install the plugin. Great. Now that's installed. Let's close these windows, and go back into the configuration page, other integrations, record creator. Just minimize. Right. So, as mentioned previously on our slide deck, we need to make sure that the records that are to be created by the record creator, the report that is used by the record creator process does include the required fields that are to be populated on the task record. And I think the easiest way I find it really easy to go via the API reference here. And then, for example, we're going to be working with tasks. So I've got my API reference for tasks open. And within the API reference for tasks, we can see what the mandatory fields are. And we need to ensure that the required field values are on the report so that the record creator can use those columns or the data from the report to populate the new task record that is to be created. And don't worry about this. We'll also see this in the record creator plugin UI. And also, as mentioned, we need to ensure that the category is set as record creator for it to show up in the plugins UI. Let's start by clicking add. So let's start by selecting the report, the data view, great. And now let's start by selecting what the original record type is, which is person or people in APIs. Those are person. And then selecting the the origin record ID column, which is this from our report. And then we select what the new record type is going to be, which is going to be tasks, activity tasks. And now if you click continue, great. And now you'll see here's a message that shows all the required fields that need to be populated for the record creator to run successfully. So we'll start by mapping the first required field, assign to name. And we can add multiple field mappings here, as so. And then if we go scroll up, we have priority. And again, Sorry, just give me a moment. Apologies. There we go. Activity priority. And then we have the map status, subject name, and type. So we go with status next. Activity status. And then map the status column from our report. Again, let's do the same for subject. Subject, create field. And the last one I think required was to set the type, the activity type. There we go. And now we'll also like to set the primary contact on that activity record. And to do so, we will need to make sure that we have a column in our report that says what is the primary contact type. And for the person record, it is this. And you can find more information about this on the API reference by scrolling to the bottom. And these are the types of person, the primary contacts we can set on activity records, on task record. Going back to the report, to our workbooks. Let's start by setting primary contact type. There we go, primary contact type. And then we set the map the field value from our report. And again, now we need to set the primary contact ID, as this is required by the API in order to create the record. So we'll set the original record ID again. Great. I think we have mapped all the fields that we need to. We'll just map an additional one. For example, description of the record, of the task record. There we go. And let's also add another one to say what the due date time should be. Give me a moment. Yep. Sorry. And now let's click continue. Great. Let's just review if everything we have configured is what is as expected. And let's click add. Great. And now let's resume this. So now that's running, let's quickly jump into the actual schedule process that is created, and just see what we can configure here. Let's say we don't want the process to run every minute, but let's say we want it to run every 30 minutes. So we'll update the frequency here and then click save and close. And as we saw a moment ago, we had that notification pop up to say the record creator has created the follow-up task. And you can see based on our field mappings, it has set the primary contact, where it has pulled across the information that is available for the primary contact. It has set the type of the activity, which we have defined in our report here. If we scroll down here, type is phone call, and so on. So the record creator has pushed across the data from our report. So if I was to refresh this, the report, as the record's been generated, it's dropped off from the report. And this is because of a criteria to stop the record creator from creating duplicate records by saying if there is an activity associated to the person record that has been created today, and the activity is created through, sorry, just a second, I think, yeah, and the activity created through isn't is not record creator, only then should it come up. But if it is record creator, it wouldn't come up because that would cause duplicates to be created. Right. So let's talk about some best practices. So much like the field updater, we need to make sure that the process uses that the date format is in year, month, day, as this is what the API uses, and it can cause confusions for end users in the UI. Set the report to run as system admin user. Uh, we can configure the scheduled process in terms of frequency and who it runs as, but it is advised to run as automation so that it has the correct permissions and capabilities when updating records. Once the record creator is set up, start by running a control test by restricting the volume of data in the report and then scaling up as if the record creator is working as expected. Give the record creator a meaningful name to make its purpose clear so that in the plugin UI, if you have multiple record creators set up, you can then identify which record creator is doing what. A quick recap, we touched upon what the record creator is, how it works. We touched upon some setup essentials, and then we looked at how to set one up within the product and touched upon some best practices. Now we'll open up for any questions if there are any. Debbie asked how did only two reports appear within the record creator configuration screen. And as mentioned earlier in our slide deck, that the reports appear on the record appear within the record creator plugin based on the report category. So if the report category has the if the record creator, sorry, if the report category has record creator value in it, then it will show up in the plugin UI. Thank you. Okay. Um, moving on from there. Our next webinar will be held on 20th of May at 4 p.m., which is on converting leads to people. Please do visit our knowledge base, as it is a great place to start if you have any questions. And if you do need help, please do get in touch by requesting your authorized support contact to raise a ticket via the case portal or by getting in touch with your account manager. Also, we have a lot of free training resources available on our website. Please do check it out. And you can also access past recordings by going into workbooks.com/resources. Thank you for attending and see you next time.